Okay, so today I'm gonna be changing my driver's side axle because the boot is ripped and it's clicking. I already did the passenger side like a couple months ago, so now I'm gonna do this one, and I figured I'd just make a video on it, just cause you never know who's out there looking for what. And obviously we're gonna start by jacking up the car. Make sure you do this, safely. Use some jack stands, and you're gonna need to obviously take the lug nuts off. And my axle bolt happens to be a size 30, so that's what I'm gonna be using. So how I'm gonna go about it is, I got the jack ready, but before I pick it up, I'm gonna, loosen the tire bolts and take off the axle nut. That way, I just take everything off when I, actually jack the car up. So let's see how this goes. Put this in the way so hopefully it'll catch everything. Alright. We'll see how this goes. So like I said, I have the jack ready to lift up the car. I have my jack stands ready to go. So I'm just gonna loosen these bolts up. Now the other reason I'm gonna do this first is because I don't have a second person here to hold the brake down while this is up in the air. So I'm just gonna hit it with the impact gun. Try to get this bolt off. There we go. So I got that loosened up. Bolts are off. It's time to raise the car. Alright. So once you have enough space, just remember to put your jack stands in there. You don't want the car falling on you. And oh, another thing I forgot to mention was, since I hit it with the impact gun, so I didn't have to undo this groove right here, because there's a notch right there that once you have this tightened on, you gotta bang it in. But and to take it off, you gotta bang it out. But since I used the impact, I didn't have to do that. So I'm gonna leave that there for now. Let's continue with this shit. just going to pick the car up a little more. Just so that I could be comfortable. And I'm using 2 jack stands just because I want to be safe. I don't need the car falling on top of me. There we go. That should be enough. Okay, so to continue here, let me pick this up so you can see what we got to do here. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna undo this right here, this castle nut, and those 3 bolts right there. 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna disconnect this from the car, the hub, so we'll be able to maneuver the hub out of the way to push the axle in through here and out of the transmission. Now it's also a good idea to get like a drip pan or something, because transmission fluid might fall out when you pull the shaft out of the transmission, so be ready for that. And let me start this over here. Again, let me try to put this in a position where we can all see what's going on. And this bolt would happen to be, oh wait, gotta get that pin out of there. Well, that was easy. This is not a 14, this would be let's try the 16 since it's in my hand. Oh shit, it's not, it's even bigger. Could it be a 17? Oh, okay, so this castle nut is a 17 millimeter. So let's get that out of there. I mean, I hope that it catches it. This right here. Alright, so hopefully I got the angle, because if not, this would be a complete waste of time. So we're going to take off that castle nut real quick. Let me get up under there. Shit. Oh, I should have used some of that rust penetrant. I'll be right back. So we'll leave that, let that soak in for now. So then what I'm going to do is go after these bolts. Can I see there? These 2 and this one. Now, hopefully they won't give me as rough of a time. Damn, looks like they are. Oh, and these are also 17s apparently. You know what? Maybe I need my breaker bar for this. Okay, well, this is just a deep socket with the breaker bar. Nothing different. Alright. goes that one. I guess these are really stuck on there, huh? You know what? I think I'll just word of advise everybody to just spray everything down before you get started. Alright, so this is the reason why I want to change my axle, because see how the boot is torn to bits. So when I do some turns, sometimes it starts to click. So before I get into an accident, and before I wait for the last minute to get my inspection done, I'm gonna replace it. So we got this I don't even know the right word for it, but we got that off, and we got this off. So now the hub itself moves freely now, somewhat. Take this nut off. So now we can start the process of actually taking out the axle, which shouldn't be too hard. It's basically out already. Ah, my watch. Okay, try with the other hand. Yeah, let me put this somewhere where I can work freely. Maybe over here. Hopefully it won't move. Oh, okay. And it's out. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to try to get the axle out, which shouldn't be too hard. I would recommend using a drip pan, but I don't have my oil one and I don't want to contaminate that, whatever the fuck. But I'm gonna use a little plastic container to catch the if any transmission fluid falls out of the transmission. So what we gotta do is get in there and pop pop that axle out. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get in there comfortably. Okay. Woo. That's the mailman. Okay. Fuck. How can I get up in there? Not a problem. Let me see if I can sit this here. Well, I gotta get in there and pry the axle out. Now I think I might have to raise the car a little bit so I could really get in there, but I'm gonna try to angle the camera so I could catch it all. Alright, well, hopefully the camera can see where I'm about to start prying the axle. yeah, hopefully it will just pop right out. Looks like it's coming right out. Yep, there it goes. Oh, there goes the tranny fluid I was talking about. So hopefully it's not a lot. Like, that was kind of inevitable, but hopefully you can see with the tranny. Let's see if I can just pull the rest out. There we go. Nigga, you better stop leaking. Huh? Okay, so that was a lot more than what I anticipated it would leak. Hopefully it just stops because this shit smells horrible. Alright, so the axle's out. And that's the tranny fluid that leaked out. I should have used a bigger pan, so I recommend anybody that's going to do this job use a bigger pan. And that looks pretty too dirty for me to pump back in, so I won't pump it back in. But yeah, all that leaked out, you're going to have to replace all of that. So out with the old axle. Shit. Out with the old axle. Hold on. And in with the new one. Now I'm gonna change my gloves real quick because I got oil everywhere. Alrighty, so this is the new axle. Make sure it has a little ring at the end, and make sure it just matches up like the old one, and then just pop it back in. Now the trick is getting it back in there. Angle this in a way. You see? Yeah. Okay, this is the best I can do. But just so you can see this is where the axle goes. This is where the axle goes. So I'm just gonna put the camera here. Just for the sake of having it running while I'm putting in the new one. So let me finagle this, hopefully without dropping the camera. Hold it. Yay! I'll do it. Okay. Let me. Try to get that in there. There. Well, that was a pain in the ass, but a little bit of jiggling and turning, and it should snap all the way in. Make sure it's all the way in. You don't want anything leaking or, you know, grinding and fucking up. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's in. That's in. Okay, so now what's left for me to do is to bring it on home. So start from here. Yay! Okay, so I'm not gonna tighten that up just yet. Let me see what you guys see. Alright, so I'm not gonna tighten this up just yet. I'm gonna put everything else that goes under it back together. So let's put this back at an angle where you guys can see. Okay, so now we're somewhat in the home stretch. The axle is back in. It's not on, but it's on. So we're just gonna, oh, yeah, let me take these bolts off. Okay, so put these bolts back in where they go, including this nut. Okay. So this bolt's kind of on. Screw this nut back on. Oh. Now, you just want to be careful that there's like no dirt and debris on the threading. Because that'll just make everything more difficult. Okay, so that's kind of on. So also let's not forget this one. Let's not forget to put this back in. And there you go. So then, where's that little castle nut? Ah, here it is. Take this. Ah. Oops. So take castle nut. Just put it back on. That's all it is. So now, just gotta tighten everything back up. I know this is going to give me a problem because it gave me a problem coming off. And this one we just got to tighten it up enough to put the pin back in. I left that over here. Don't want to lose these things unless you have new ones. I don't. So yeah, let me get started on that. Okay, I guess that's as far as that has to go. Just make sure you tighten the castle nut enough to, you know, put this pin back in. Alright. So that it doesn't, you know, unscrew and you have an accident. Okay. So that's that. Now, onto these little fuckers over here. Now, like I said, I knew this bolt. Pretty cool. I knew this bolt was still gonna give me problems tightening it back up because it gave me a hard time loosening it up. And these are about as tight as they need to be right now. Let me tighten this much. Oh, that wasn't so bad. But what I am gonna do now, I have a torque wrench, but I didn't look up the specs for this as to how tight they gotta be. I don't know how many foot-pounds they gotta be, but I'm just gonna give it one last little half spin with my breaker bar without stripping the bolts. Okay, not even a half spin, because I am scared of stripping these bolts. Because if I strip them, then, you know, next time it's not going to be a good time. Alright, that should be tight enough. I consider myself a strong man. That should be tight enough. Alrighty. Yeah, so since we got these 3 bolts back together, and we got this castle pin back on, and I tried my best, you know, not to make a mess, but hey, it happens. And my I'm hopefully sure banged it in all the way. Well, now all I gotta do is put this axle nut back on. Now, I'm not gonna tighten it all the way because that would be nuts. Impact wrenches aren't meant for tightening bolts. Remember that. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna go figure out how many torque pounds this has to be before I bang in this edge right here and put my tire back on. Okay, so this is supposed to be 217 foot-pounds. Yeah, my torque wrench doesn't go that high, so I just hit it real quick with the impact wrench. I know it just contradicts what I just said, but I just don't have the right torque wrench. So I just hit it real quick, clack, clack. Make sure it's nice and tight, doesn't wiggle anywhere, and just punch in the punch, and you're done. Oh, and whatever, transmission fluid came out, I don't suggest, if it's like this, don't pump it back in. Just go get some new shit. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get some new transmission oil and fill my transmission back up. So yeah, that's about it. That's how you do the axle.